Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to our third session of our Leaders United Live. I'm Tabitha Angel, and I'm the Senior Director of the Our Promise campaign. I'm so excited to be here with Shannon Walling. So hi, Shannon. How's it going?
Good, Tabitha. How are you? It's nice to see you.
It's awesome to see you. I wish we were in person, but it's great to see your face. So we're here today to talk about our Leaders United program, our Leaders United Executive. We like to call them LOOS for short. A couple years ago, we used to call it the Loaned Executive Program. And for those folks who are joining us today and may not know about this program, it is a program where we essentially recruit state employees to come work for us for about 4 months during the Our Promise campaign season. And, within that program, there's leadership skills learned, there's volunteer opportunities, and you're working with multiple state departments, not just your own state department, but you're working with multiple state departments, essentially being an account manager.
Yes.
So it was a great pleasure having you as part of our team. We had a lot of fun, but we'd love to hear more about your experience and what did you learn from being a Leaders United?
Well, thanks, Tabitha, for having me, and thanks for the Our Promise organization and for having me today. And I appreciate it a lot. It's funny when you say, "What did I learn?" There's so much that I could talk about. I could go on and on for a long time. But let me say this. I will say that when I first learned that it was called Leaders United, and that it wasn't just going to be on loan and process papers for 4 to 6 months. Um, it was more of a leadership series as well. And so I said to myself, well, gosh, I've been in a leadership role in my current department for years. Why do I need that? And I was kind of a little skeptical at first, wondering, is there something wrong with me? I mean, what's going on, right?
Right.
But let me tell you, after going through the program and being on loan, it wasn't that I needed to learn leadership skills. It was that they were enhanced and they were expanded on. And that is probably the best thing that I learned about the program. For state employees coming in and being loaned, it wasn't just going to process paperwork. It wasn't just going to talk to people and collect donations and that kind of thing. It was way more than that. And that's what I'm grateful for, because you learn a variety of different things. First you learn how to be a part of a new team, people you've never met before. And then you are trained to go out to work with other state departments and the employees of all of these other various state departments. I had no idea that there were so many,
Right. And Shannon, can you tell us a little bit about your current position and who you worked for many years? And so that might give a little bit of background to what you're kind of talking about.
Sure. So I've worked for the Department of Motor Vehicles for 30 years now. I'm going on 30 years this year. Awesome. And I've been in various roles. I've been out in the field office. I've been at headquarters. Most of my career has been at headquarters. Right now, I am the Chief of Staff for the Information Systems Division, which is the IT division. And so as in that position, I work with a lot of people throughout the department. I see a lot of the changes that are happening right now. So that's why I said when I said, was there a leadership problem that I was having, or why am I being put in this? It was more of a learning experience. It wasn't any kind of punishment. It wasn't any kind of that I've done something wrong. But what it did was it really opened my eyes to see a bigger picture of the state of California, right. Not just DMV or not just my agency.
And that's what I think is really important for people coming into this program, is that people who have worked in their state department or their state agency for a long time may not be exposed to other departments and other agencies. And I think people kind of forget that there is a very large system running in the state of California. There's multiple departments, hundreds of departments and hundreds of, agencies commissions and boards and all different
Yes.
types running the state. And I think that's always the interesting opportunity and eye-opening experience for people who come on loan to us, because they really get to learn about those other state departments and agencies, and the internal workings. Just for someone like, who may come in and didn't know anything about the DMV, I mean, everybody has their perception about the DMV, love you, but everybody's got this like, oh, the DMV does this. I mean, it's a very public entity.
Yes.
But what they don't realize is all the internal workings of the DMV, for example, what you guys do. And that's been an eye-opening experience for myself. I'm not technically a state employee, but I have learned so much with working with all these different departments about you guys are a crucial part of our state and what you do for the public every day. And as part of an entity, everybody can have their gripes and complaints, etc. But what you guys do is a very important part of who we are and how we run as a state. So I think that's really important, and a really important piece for people who are loaned to our program, that it really helps your network and helps you expand to other departments and agencies.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off of that, I also learned about these little tiny agencies, like you said, the boards and the commissions. I had no idea. It's not just the big agencies. All of the employees of the state of California were one still. And so the purpose of this campaign is to reach out to all of those employees, if it's a big agency or a little agency, in order to get the funds and help nonprofits by contributing monthly.
So with that being said, what did
Mhm.
you learn about the nonprofit community, coming into our program and being part of this campaign?
So just like with the agencies, you have big nonprofits, that we all hear about a lot, that are on TV. They, have commercials and things like that. Those are great. All of them are really great. They all have a mission and a vision for what they need to do to help communities. But then there's these little nonprofits as well, and what they do for the people that they serve is really incredible. There's so many that you just kind of have to find what works in your heart and what's important to you, and learn about what they do, and that then you can contribute to them. The other thing that I did learn about was that if you have your own nonprofit that you would like to contribute, if it's your church or your PTA or what have you, and they're not on the list, you can write them in.
Yes. So
Yeah.
there's, like you said, the options are endless with the amount of nonprofits, 501c3. So of course we do have a list on our website, and we call it the nonprofit guide, that gets printed every year and distributed. And those are folks who apply to be part of our list and go through a certification process, and they go through an application process.
Mhm.
But, not everybody knows about the Our Promise campaign. Not every nonprofit, not every church is like applying to be part of our program. Not every nonprofit. It's a lot. There's a lot to know out there, and, information doesn't always get spread across or communicated. So we have a lot of times where we have employees coming to us from all parts of California, right? Everywhere from up to the Oregon border down to San Diego. I mean, state employees are everywhere. So they will say, hey, like, I've got my church in my local community and I would love to give back to them. I would love to give my monthly donation to them. Can I give it to them? And of course, as long as they have a valid tax ID and they're 501c3, you can give to any nonprofit of your choice. Even if they are not in California, they can be anywhere in the USA, and some even in Canada. So that's what a lot of people, we have some folks who came from, other parts of the country. And, they were like, I used to live in Florida and I really loved this nonprofit when I lived in Florida and I would love to give back to them. And so we do have a write-in option on our online pledge system that you can easily just type in their information. We just need a few pieces of their information. And that's what, it's just $5 a month. We're not asking for all of your money or, but $5 a month, we feel is pretty manageable for $60 a year. And a lot of people think that $5 doesn't do much for a nonprofit, but it really does help them in their communities and what they're doing.
Well, and one thing I learned that I was not aware of was that by consistently giving every month, be it $5, $50, $500, that nonprofit can operate more efficiently because they know their consistent cash flow.
Yeah.
And that really touched my heart because I've been giving to different organizations for many years, be it, PTA or the baseball team that my son was on, the soccer team, and that kind of thing. But and that's wonderful. It's a great thing to do. And I wouldn't discourage anybody from not giving. But what I would encourage is that by consistently giving every month, that nonprofit knows that money is going to come in and they can act more efficiently on it. Think about what I thought about too was that over the last year in the pandemic, there are so many nonprofits that really helped people out this last year.
Yeah.
And so I can only imagine needing a service. And by consistently giving, they're able to provide that service to people, especially in this day and time.
Right. So, and that's where, I think it really hit home for people is there were people this past year who never needed those resources before.
Yes.
It's just, they didn't need it for either time of the season or whatever it may have been. And then all of a sudden this massive pandemic hit and people were out of jobs, were out of housing, couldn't afford to feed their families and things like that. So food banks, other types of nonprofits were getting harder than they had ever been hit before. And a lot of people don't realize that the payroll monthly deduction is a constant form of resource for these nonprofits. A lot of people ask, well, Tabitha, why not just give a one-time donation? There's still a lot of people who give one-time donations, right in November, December. So kind of get it in for the tax year so they can have their tax write-off. That's still great because you're still giving. But what most people don't realize from the business side of things or from the nonprofit side of things is that, that's a monthly income that's coming in for those nonprofits. Some of our nonprofits get paid out monthly, depending if they're signed up for EFT, or some of our nonprofits get paid out quarterly if they're not signed up for EFT. So either way, they're either getting paid monthly or quarterly. So they're definitely expecting that income either every month or every couple months. And for them, that's really consistent to say, okay, we're not waiting till November or December to get that one check.
Yeah, and I think that's very important for people to realize. Plus, again, at the minimum is $5 a month. That's a cup of coffee. And I just saw on TV this morning, coffee prices have, increased by, I think, 23%. So, imagine one cup of coffee, that's all it takes.
Well, yeah. And if you break $5 in the matter of, during the month and how many cents a day that is, it's like 17 cents a day. I mean, we used to, especially state employees and people who worked in the capital region, pay for parking and quarters. We used to carry all those kinds of coins in our car. But, I mean, you can't even hardly pay a quarter for parking anymore. So 17 cents a day, the only thing I say you can pay for is a reusable bag at 10 cents. But that's it. That's it, really. So if you add that up over a month for $5, it's not that much. Granted, give what you can give. I feel like if you can afford to give $5, amazing. If you can afford to give more of your time, That's great too. Everybody's always looking to have more time. You know, if you can volunteer your time, that's an excellent way to give back to your community as well. So there's lots of ways to give back. And this is just one of the amazing programs that you can easily give back as a state employee. And it's very easy through payroll deduction. So after talking about this program and everything with the Leaders United and the Our Promise campaign, you know, for all those other state employees and you being a very long state service employee yourself, why would you encourage others to want to come to this program? Since we're not just processing paper anymore, what would you encourage others? Why would you encourage them to come to this program?
Well, first of all, the program, again, as we talked about in the beginning, is that you enhance your leadership skills and abilities. You learn more about the state and all of its resources and different departments. For me personally too, I built a lot of great relationships and friendships, and those are invaluable to me. I still am in touch with a lot of the people that I met. And, you know, I think that we encourage each other and we support each other, and it's just a great program. It does get you out of the office a little bit too, which is kind of nice to be able to see other opportunities and other ways departments work and learn new things. So, I mean, it's really a great program. It's just refreshing and enlightening. And I would encourage anybody to sign up to do it, because it really does take you to another level of where you can see the skills that you already have will just be enhanced.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shannon. I really appreciate all your feedback and everything that you've done today. But now we have a prize giveaway drawing. So we're going to spin the wheel to select a winner of an Our Promise prize pack. For those of you who have entered the prize drawing, you will still be entered for all of our sessions. So if you entered once, you will continue to be on our list. So yay, Jackie Gudo of the Government Operations Agency is our winner. Woo!
Hey, congratulations,
awesome.
Jackie.
That's great. So be on the lookout for a confirmation email, Jackie, headed your way so that we can get in touch and go ahead and get that over to you. We're going to have our next Leaders United live session on Tuesday, next Tuesday, and we will be interviewing Danielle Gist, who is one of our former Leaders United. So she was one of the first Leaders United I ever worked with. So I'm really excited to interview her as well. Again, thank you, Shannon, so much for joining us today and giving us all that lovely feedback. If any one of you is interested in learning more about the Leaders United program, please reach out to us. You can go visit our website at ourpromiseca.org, and we would love to be in touch with you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Tabitha. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.